Well, there's a new book out today that looks at how leading a more fulfilling life could be achieved by changing the way we think about death.
Really interesting. The book is called Briefly Perfect Human, Making an Authentic Life by Getting Real About the End. Joining us now is author and death doula, Doula Arthur. Thank you so much, Lou, for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
A really interesting topic that I'm going to hazard a guess is new for a lot of people. What is a death doula?
Well, death doula is somebody who does all of the holistic and non-medical care and support of the dying person and the circle of support through the process. So even when people are healthy, when they've come into recognition of their mortality, we can help them do some comprehensive end-of-life planning. And then when somebody has a diagnosis, we can help them create the most ideal death for themselves under the circumstances.
Oh, we have birth doulas, and this idea of a death doula, it makes perfect sense when you explain it like that. Can you tell us about this trip you write about in your book? You went to Cuba, you met a woman named Jessica. She was fighting uterine cancer. How did you help her, and how did that affect the work that you do now?
Well, it was the first time I really started thinking about mortality, being in conversation with somebody who was very seriously ill. And as we talked about her disease, I started to realize that there wasn't much space for her to talk about it, because when she wanted to talk about her fears about dying, people would encourage her to focus on healing and getting better and not on her death. And so it was the first time that we got to really be in the conversation about mortality for me too. And it helped me see that I can view my life through the lens of my death, and it helps me see what I value and what type of life I want to lead.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is, and I love what you said about recognition of our mortality, because the end comes for all of us, right? When and how is the variable, but the constant that it comes, we can all be assured. And you talk about approaching that constant in your book. You said, at the end of the day, for life's sake, don't die with a freezer full of bananas. Make the banana bread, take a nap, eat the cake, forgive yourself.
That.
Why is that framework so important?
When I am looking at my death, I can see my entire life in clear focus. I can see what I valued, who I cared about, what I did with my time, what mark I wanted to leave. And so when we're thinking about mortality, we can create the life that we want. We can consciously curate it rather than just have our death catch us by surprise and then wish we had done something different with our lives.
You know, I think sometimes parents hesitate to talk about this with their kids because it's a tough topic. I mean, adults have a hard time talking about it. What are some of your recommendations for discussing this in a family?
Tell the kids the truth. Tell them as much as you know. When you don't know, tell them that you don't know. Do your best to obviously create safety for them. When they ask questions like, are you going to die too? You can say, I don't plan on dying for a while. But we need to be careful not to pass on our death phobia to our children by using euphemisms around death or pretending it didn't happen, because it forces that fear on into the children. So tell them the truth.
You know, when you talk about your trip to Cuba being your first time sort of recognizing mortality and having to think about this in sort of a planful way, when is too early to talk about it? Or is there such a thing as too early? I mean, do you need to be facing death in order to start having these conversations?
Well, when is a good time to start talking and planning for something that you know one day is going to happen? It's right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I love that.
Yeah, well, I guess the last question I have is just talking about, like, the biggest fears. What do people tell you in those moments when you are serving as their death doula that they regret or that they fear?
Well, a lot of regrets around the time that we spent and the time that we didn't, the things that we didn't do with our lives that we wanted to do. But a lot of people fear many things about death, but they fall in 5 major categories around fear of the process of the body. Is it going to be painful? People fear the unknown or what happens after we die. They're scared about leaving their affairs unfinished, not living a life full of themselves. They're afraid of losing control. But mostly, I think most fear of death is a fear of a life not fully lived, not having done all the things we want to do with our time.
You know, Lou, it's interesting because I think I probably, like most people, struggle with the fear of the unknown. It's fundamentally really uncomfortable. What do you do to give people hope? Or is that a focus? Do you focus on giving people hope in those moments?
My focus isn't necessarily on giving people hope, but rather creating space for them to share what's on their hearts. Now, most of us that fear the unknown must recognize that every day we live, we are navigating the unknown. We did it when we woke up this morning. We do it every time we enter into a new circumstance. So we've done it many times before, and we can rely on it. And next, when we don't know something, the human impulse is to lean into the things that scare us, but it could be whatever it is that we choose. So choose something that feels good to us.
Thank you so much. Author and death doula, Doula Arthur. We really appreciate it. What a fascinating conversation.
Thanks, Doula.